Hello adventurers! The time has come for a new style of PvP with the release of Battlegrounds. In this video I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on Battlegrounds so far, what I did and didn't like, and some hope for future editions. I was super hyped when these were confirmed to be coming to ESO. You could feel the collective excitement from the people on the side of the PvP community who had been asking for this forever, basically, and the sigh from the rest of the community so they didn't have to see one more forum post about it. We had a small glimpse at Battlegrounds at QuakeCon 2014, but it was far from close to being released to the general population. So what are Battlegrounds? Battlegrounds are a 4v4v4 PvP arena with up to 4 players on each team. You can fight with players of the opposite alliance in your group, as it puts you on the Battleground specific team. The team you get is chosen randomly, though there are 3 different ones with their own emblems and colors. The orange team, which are the Fire Drakes, the green team, the Pit Demons, and the purple team, called the Storm Crowns. Currently there are 3 small maps and they are randomly selected. When you go to queue, as of making this video, it tosses you into a mixed grab bag of one of 3 game types. There's a standard deathmatch, which is just killing other players, and the first to hit the score cap wins. Domination, where your team must control the banners to gather points and get the high score. And then capture the flag, where you'll be running relics at the other team's bases and bringing back to your own base for points. Something interesting to note, killing other players only counts in deathmatch. While you can still do it in the other game types, this does not go towards your score, though at the end of the match regardless, there is a recap where it shows your kills, deaths, and assists. Surprisingly enough, I didn't see a kill to death ratio record on the screen, which I thought would have been a nice addition, though you can still get this through the kill counter mod if you play on PC. You also receive medals at the end of each match for kills, relic runs and capture the flag, flags captured in domination, healing, and more. At the end of each match, you will get a mail with a new Battleground specific gear inside, much like Cyrodiil mail containing a random piece from one of the new sets. A small amount of AP is also rewarded. The maps are fairly small, but there is still plenty of space between objectives, and some of them even have environmental aspects. There is a map with lava that does high damage if you are unlucky enough to fall into it, and another with a Dwemer-style blade trap reminiscent of Stage 2 in Maelstrom Arena that players can activate, using it to kill those standing on the space below. There are also buffs that you can retrieve in Deathmatch that spawn around the map. Having these gives you a buff to your damage, though they spawn randomly across the map, so if you're quick enough or lucky enough to get one, then you have a pretty good advantage. Now that all the basics are out of the way, let's talk about some things I really enjoy about Battlegrounds. The first thing is that they are just good, plain old fun. I have loved small-scale PvP for a long time, though in Cyrodiil it's not guaranteed as an encounter and usually ends up in a big, massive AVA fight. Battlegrounds is a good answer to the need for small-scale PvP encounters, and it does a pretty good job of it. The maps are small enough that they keep fights interesting, while giving enough open space for 3-way fights, and if you're smart, spaces to LOS and maneuver around your opponents. Your spawn is a safe area, and you don't take damage from the jump down into the arena, so it's easy to just jump in and start fighting. The game modes are interesting and bring a variety to the table with objectives, which I really enjoy. Yes, it's absolutely fun to kill other players on a smaller scale than massive AVA combat, but having a goal besides crowning Emperor or farming AP is refreshing and lets you think about winning strats differently. Healers are so worth it to play! You do get medals for healing, which I think is great, so if you are someone that loves to play a tanky support Templar, you can just jump into the Battlegrounds knowing you will still receive rewards for your healing. Tanks are needed just as well, being the distraction while your team's DPS does the killing. This makes more builds viable in this setting, leading to the possibility of tons of symmetry within your group's builds and the builds that you fight. The queues are relatively short, just make sure not to fast travel before you queue in because sometimes the notification pops during travel and you might miss it. The short queue time is a great alternative to sometimes long, high population Cyrodiil queues and maybe in the hundreds during prime time. It's easy to grab 3 friends and just jump into it. There are so many rewards! You get a super amount of titles, dye colors, and even housing items to put in your humble abode from earning achievements in Battlegrounds. Some of the housing stuff is quite expensive but looks fantastic, and the fact that you have to earn the right to buy them makes them a rare display piece for any PvPer's home. I absolutely love that they added these, especially the dye colors. The final thing I like about Battlegrounds is no champion points. I prefer no CP PvP as it reminds me of my favorite time in PvP before champ points were even a thing. Battlegrounds don't allow you to utilize your champ points, making the playing field a little more even for the new people that haven't gotten that many yet. Now, Let's get into some things that I don't like. The first thing, and I'm not going to get way into this because that could be a whole other video, is proc sets. They make the fights annoying as everyone is procking their Vipers, Veladreth, or whatever on you, and you get permastunned by 4 tremor scales until death. Not a fun experience, but this isn't unique to Battlegrounds, so I was kind of hesitant to put it on this list. Regardless, I think it's something that needs to be removed. A reoccurring issue seems to be that queuing in groups of 2 and 3 can cause the match to not fill up your empty slot with another player, or cause the other teams to be lacking. I noticed this predominantly when we queued with 2 and 3 players, so it's still happening when we had a group of 4. 4v2v2 or 4-3 and 3 is not a fun game, and my hope with this is that it's fixed relatively soon. If the queue isn't having a fit, it's a load screen. I've encountered a few infinite load screens in Battlegrounds. While this does not happen often, it does happen. And unfortunately, if you Alt F4 to fix it, it can tag you with a levers penalty, meaning you can't re-queue for 20 minutes and then you get a debuff to earning AP. There was a small problem that I encountered on my stream where the other team would not come down from their spawn, and the other team was just plain old hiding behind something and we couldn't find them. If you stand still, you do get kicked and get a levers debuff where you cannot re-queue for 20 minutes as the game thinks you're AFK. Instead, this team jumped around and fired off skills but refused to come down and fight or leave the game, making us wait until they finally decided to come down and fight. If they didn't do this, we would have had to let the timer run until the end, sucking the fun right out of the match. I think there needs to be some kind of timer with this, where if you stay in spawn too long, even while moving, it automatically teleports you somewhere, or it just kills you. Both teams doing this could become a griefing issue, which isn't fun for anybody. Another thing is specific to the capture the flag mode. When you're standing by your relic and someone comes to grab it, there is nothing you can do to stop them from touching it. Meaning, unless you kill them before they touch it, or kill them and return the relic to your base by picking it up and pressing E, they can just walk up and take it, which means defending is almost useless, and running for relic seems to be the only strat that works. Let's go back to griefing. There are people, for whatever reason, do not want to play the objective despite it being an objective match. There was a particular team of 4 that just attacked my team at spawn and did not defend their own relic, letting the third team cap it over and over again while we tried to fight the attackers off. I don't really see much that can be done about this. It's just people being disruptive for the sake of being disruptive, since in objective modes, kills don't count. Just don't be those guys. I would like to see a better AP reward for winning matches or even just completing matches. You get a small amount. I recall my team getting 4,800 in a match for winning, which when you think about it is really small compared to what you would get for kills out in Cyrodiil. I hope they adjust this number soon and make it a little more viable to earn AP this way. And the final thing that I don't like about Battlegrounds is dun dun dun, the paywall. One thing that sticks out the most to me is to get into these you must have the current expansion, which is Morrowind. I really wish this was not the case and they were just open like Cyrodiil, where anyone with the game could get into them. Shoving them behind more content you need to pay for seems icky to me, when they were something so highly sought after since the beginning of the game. Now that we got the bad stuff out of the way, here's some things that I hope they add in future updates. Non-veteran Battlegrounds. One of my fondest memories was the Blackwater Blade campaign, or the non-vet campaign. I think that it would be great to have a strictly 10 through 50 level Battlegrounds for people that are new to the game, but don't want to face those who are completely geared with max gold gear and skills. I think this would be a great learning tool to help people learn how their classes work in PvP, in a less intimidating setting than open field. Ranked and quick play. The current way Battlegrounds operate, they do have leaderboards, but I think it might be nice to see ranked and quick play versions of these matches. This would give the hardcore PvP scene something to work towards with ranked besides the titles and die colors that you can get from certain achievements. Speaking of achievements, I'd love to see more costume rewards for PvP, something like costumes that represent the Fire Drakes, Pit Demons, and Storm Crowns of the Battlegrounds. PvE nets you a great deal of costumes, and now with Morrowind tattoos, personalities, and even pets. I'd love to see a fighter personality from Battleground rewards, or tattoos or team emblems for your character. Or costumes just even on the same detail level as the Emperor costume. These kinds of rewards for PvP would be a great incentive to get people into the Battlegrounds, and it would be excellent to have them in a future update. I'd also really love to see more assists for healing and tanking. Sure, you do get medals, but you don't really get any kill assists for healing and tanking. You get a few, but not as much as I feel you're deserved if you're carrying a team with your heals or with your tanking. Another thing I'd like to see is a quick chat system. Well, I mean, obviously you can chat to people quickly with a keyboard on PC. Having a chat wheel with important things like follow me, group up, or I need healing or something reminiscent of the Overwatch wheel would be a really excellent addition to this and make it a lot easier for those that don't have access to keyboards to kind of tell your team what's going on if you're not in voice chat. Overall, Battlegrounds are a fun and fast-paced experience that the community for ESO has been asking for since the launch of the game. When the queue pops and you get the 4v4v4 experience, it's fantastic, and even a little bit addictive, feeling that need for PvP without searching for a fight in a campaign. Grabbing friends and jumping into the match satisfied the competitive spirit in me. I found myself sucked into these since I got into them, and during early access, that's basically all I did. But not everything about them is perfect. When there are queue hiccups and teams that ensure you'll have a bad time, it's frustrating to put it lightly, and those few hiccups become a glaringly obvious problem that will hopefully have a solution on the horizon. I cannot speak for console as I exclusively play on PC, so I base my experience on what I have seen on PC. If you're a fan of PvP and the Elder Scrolls Online, and even if you aren't, I highly recommend just jumping in and playing one match. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me rant. If you like this style of video, please give it a thumbs up below so I know and I can make more of these reviews in the future. Also, I would love to know your opinions on Battlegrounds. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Have you not tried them yet? Comment below and tell me. You can follow me on Twitter to keep up with me, and follow me on Twitch. I stream just about every weekday. The links are in the description box below. I will see you guys next time. Until then, stay derpy, and I will see you in Tamriel.